Hi Aries, this is your July 2019 reading. Aries, in the part 1 of the video, I spoke about the two eclipses that are happening this month. We gave an overview of what's about to come this month. In this video, we're going to cover in detail how those eclipses, in my view, can pan out for your sign and what are the things we can do to receive them in a beneficial manner. The first eclipse that is happening on 2nd of July is happening in your house of home and family. A critical axis is activated in the month of July with the eclipses. Eclipses bring about dramatic and fated changes in our life, and for us, it is activating our axis of home, family, and career. At the start of the month, when we are given this opportunity to initiate something new, some change in our home, in our property, in our family structure, in the way we receive and give love, and our emotional foundations, we are prompted to do where our emotions are taking us. We are prompted to do what our heart desires. We are prompted to make ourselves safe. We are made to sort of look at our inner life. We want to look at where we stand right now, and is that what is giving us emotional fulfillment? We want to develop an inner sense of security. We want our family to be taken care of. We want to feel safe and secure here. And the activity is stepped up in that area of your life. On a mundane level, it sometimes results in us getting the impetus to change houses, to change our place of living, to renew the leases, to look at the documentation related to the leases, or do something new with our parents, do something new. Something new might happen in the life of our parents. Something new could happen in the way we parent our children, our family, our heritage, our emotional patterns. They get a boost here. We want to relax at home. We want to eat home cooked food. We want to go and meet our parents. We want to get emotional happiness here. We want to do things that drive us. We want to do things that make us feel happy and content in life. And this is a very directional eclipse because of being a cardinal sign eclipse. It gives clear directions. Our intuition speaks very loudly to us here in terms of what is the direction we need to take. Where do we want to go? Which makes us feel more fulfilled. Because North Node is here, our destiny is here. Our destiny is in making ourselves emotionally fulfilled, and the recognition in the public life will come through that. The road to success, Aries, as I've been talking about it in the past few videos as well, this year, all the way till middle of next year, the road to success is no longer look for an outer image, but focus on what truly makes you happy. Spending time with your family, letting go of our guard to some extent, letting go of how it looks to the world, and do what makes you feel emotionally fulfilled, that brings out your core, that brings out your heritage, that brings out your healing properties, that brings out your ability to make other people happy, that brings out your ability to give enormous amount of love to your family and the people who you consider as your family. There is an expansion in your career, which is sort of destined in my view, because Saturn is here. Saturn creates foundation of career progress. Saturn is sitting in your house of career. It is making you work hard on your public image, but it is asking you to clearly see what you want your public image to be. What kind of career do you want? We are restructuring what success means to us. We are restructuring what kind of career we want to be in. We are restructuring how we want to be perceived by the world. What is our positioning? And at this point in time, at the start of the month, we are given the impetus to make sure while we do that, our primary responsibility is to us, is to our private life, is to our inner being. Outer achievement will not bring us the inner emotional fulfillment. That is the road to success here. That is the lesson here. So if there are any harsh edges, there are something that is itching you, that is making you feel sensitive, because our sensitivity is increased with that eclipse. We are told in no uncertain terms what is not for us. Where do we want to go? Where we feel more recognized, more happy, recognized emotionally, where our heart is taken care of. World will take care of itself. Are you, your family, taken care of? You have a heart to share with people, but you need to take care of your safety, your security, your inner being for you to be able to share that with the world. And that is highlighted. The outer achievement will flow easier if you are taken care of, if your well being is taken care of. So, things that we need to do to take care of you are the steps that are taken with that eclipse. This is the eclipse where we are putting seeds for something. The full impact of this eclipse, as I mentioned in the introductory portion, will, in my view, come only around 29th of October, when I believe a karmic event will happen with respect to this eclipse, when full information reveals itself. During the course of this month as well, you will get more information. At the start of the month, this will just feel like an emotional thing happening. We do not feel the intent of solar eclipse in Cancer so easily. It takes time to register. First, it just feels like a deluge of emotions coming our way. So on 2nd or 3rd of July, the primary feeling, in my view, would be to nurture you, to nest with family, to feel at home and be safe, to be with our loved ones, to self-protect. The emotions will be deep. They will be felt deep. And at the same time, this Mars and Mercury impetus is asking you to increase your drive, your energy. These are two forces which are active at the same time. You want to be safe, but you want to do what your hearts desire. What is the method by which you can achieve the two is the question that is asked, because you want to do what your creativity drives you to do. You want to do what your heart desires you to do. And that is when we have Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is a time when we need to take a step back to figure out how we want this to pan out in the future, how we want this energy to be implemented in an effective manner going forward, and additional information is received as a part of that. So when Mercury and Mars are meeting each other around 4th of July, that is the time a few days before, a few days after that, 8th of July, you'll start feeling it from 4th of July. That is the time when a lot of mental energy is there, and this is happening. This is passionate. You're like, you'll be emotionally driven after this eclipse. You would want to do your heart's desire. You want to go somewhere that makes you happy. You are curious. You're motivated. You want to learn. You want to communicate. You want to start things up. But this has an element of combative energy as well, because we will be high on confidence, we will be high on drive, we will be ready to take some risk at a time of Mercury retrograde, when the business communication is a little bit compromised. So you want to be aware of that. Check in, take a step back when that happens. Take a step back before you go in and have that discussion, because there will be discussions with authority. You will be put in spotlight when it comes to your career, when it comes to your public image, when it comes to the people in your life who are powerful, who are authority, who are administrative in nature. You will come into conflict and contact with them, and you might have already experienced that last month. I spoke about it. This is the month when Sun, your ambition, will meet the opposition of somebody in power. And that is not happening to make you feel down about yourself. It is not happening because we want to stop the ambition. No, that is not what cosmos are trying to tell you. Cosmos are trying to tell you to go deeper, because there is an emotional pattern that we display when it comes to our work that is not serving us well. There is a way we respond to opposition from authority that is not serving us well. So Saturn and Pluto sitting in your house of career get activated with this infusion of fresh energy in your inner life, in your emotional life at the start of the month, and they meet. Saturn meets you around 8th or 9th of this month. 8th or 9th of July, and then Pluto meets you around 14th of July. These are critical trigger points this month, 9th of July and 14th of July. 11th of July is also a trigger point for you because Mars, your planet, is meeting Uranus. So we'll be excited in that period around 8th of July all the way till 14th, 15th of July. You'll feel very triggered, and there will be challenges to your authority that will be presented in some way because you're being asked to create a solid foundation of what you truly want to do going forward. Pluto wants you to be sure. It wants you to seek depth. It wants your power in your professional role to come out. It wants you to establish your personal power when it comes to your public life. It does not want you to be behaving in a way that other people want you to behave. It wants your emotional foundations to be so strong, which are getting reinforced with the first eclipse, so you can take certain risks in your life, so you can stand up when the authority comes towards you, so you can go deep down and figure out, do I really want to do this? Deep down, your confidence is woken up. Authority changes in our life. We become our own authority over here. This is deep transformation. This is not a small transit. This is a very strong transit. Pluto takes 200 plus years to come into a house in our chart. So this is a very rare transit that Pluto sits in your house of career, and Saturn sitting in your house of career as well at the same time. That has never happened. Pluto, Saturn, South Node together, I have mentioned this many times in my video, last happened in 15th century together. So this is a structural change like never before in your life, of your career, of your public image. But the road to success is for you to be taken care of, your family, your personal life, your emotional life to be taken care of, and it might require certain amount of changes and shifts and letting go of some elements of your career, or the way you are in your career, or the way you are with authority. There is an attachment to the public image, and I'm sorry to say that, but that's how the aspects point towards it points to us. We need to let go some element of how it looks to the world. We have to let our guard down when it comes to our family. Our family is our growth area here. Our private and emotional life is the growth area here. That supports us to take more risk in our life. We have something to share with the world, but till you are not digging in deep and getting that part of you that feels safe, that is emotionally fulfilled out, you will not be able to stand up to those people who are challenging you right now. And you will be put in that situation that this resource, the skill set inside you, which is just hidden and maybe has gone in hibernation in some time because of the demands of the society, that wakes up. And you are asked, do you really want this? Are you committed to this long term? The public image comes into question, and that will be the theme of the second eclipse as well. But before that second eclipse happens, on 14th of on 9th of July, we have the Saturn South Node and Sun opposition. So Sun meets North Node. We are amped up, we are ambitious, we want to go for it, we are charged up to go for what we want, what our emotions are telling us, what our intuition is telling us. We have learned from the eclipse that is coming at the start of the month that we want to do what makes us feel safe. We are working hard under pressure there. Saturn comes over there, cranks up the pressure a little bit. It could be an external authority person at work. It could be an administrative rule that is blocking your progress. That cranks up a notch around 9th of July. And that is especially true if you have planets around 17 degree of Aries, which is around 8th of April born. There will be some amount of pressure if you are born around 8th of April, or if you have planets around 17 degree, both in your work, and you'll feel it physically. You'll feel it physically in your bones. You'll feel it in your health. So you want to be prepared for it. But when that happens, the opposite force is overactive as well. Our ambition goes up. And that brings us to a turning point. A different part of us gets engaged over here. A part of us we did not know exists in our psyche wakes up. And that is the start of a new way of handling power. You become aware of the gap in how you're handling the structure. How do you want to act on it? And our first desire could be to get away from it. I don't want any of it. Let me get out of it. It will be a high pressure situation. There will be high temptation to get out of it, but you'll miss the lesson if you get out of it. We are made aware of our outdated assumption through an authority person. This person who's coming in our life, who could be blocking up progress, or it could be an authority figure at work or in home, is not over there to make us feel repressed. It is a shadow figure. It is a shadow figure who's telling us about our inner limitation that we need to overcome. So, letting that fight, if I can call it fight or a conflict, getting away from the responsibility that comes with that conflict will not serve you well. I'm not asking you to get into a shooting fight over there, because they will be like, people will be operating at a lower energy at that time. I can tell you that. And you might have already seen that, because Mars made the same contacts last month, our ruler. So don't give in to the pressure. You will feel a little bit entrapped here, but see what no longer supports you. There is something we are carrying out with us. It could be a responsibility, it could be a job, it could be a way we are as an authority figure at work. What are we carrying out that needs to be given up? And when we are content, when we are safe inside, we can handle that situation. So we are asked to take care of our well-being so we can handle such situations. Because if you want to become a leader, if you want to become visible, and you might already be, those situations will keep happening. So what is the framework to which we normally go to? Is that framework sound enough? What is our safety zone that we go to when that happens? What is the structure of life that we go to when we seek safety? That is changing. That is changing, because we have to derive our safety out of a very powerful place now. And that is where Pluto comes in. And so even if you feel a little bit repressed around 9th of July, that quickly gives way to a very different mode of you. Because on 11th of July, we have Mars meeting Uranus, that gives you an impetus to find an innovative approach, find a different approach to get out of that hold up, to find a different approach, to take a little bit of risk and get over that power situation. And that comes with the 14th of July aspect, which you'll start feeling from 12th of July itself. 12th to 16th of July, Sun and Pluto are meeting each other. This is power struggle. This is control issue. This is you versus me. This is focus on your inner power versus the need to be productive in the outer world. You'll feel the push and pull of your family, or of your inner world, of your safety, versus what you want to project to the outer world, or your authority person in your life, in your organization, will be pushing and pulling with you. This is a trigger date where our self-esteem is ignited. We have to be careful of aggression, but we need to evolve through this conflict. There's a primal desire to meet this opposing force. The other person becomes sort of a mirror image of our own internal issue here. But this management of frustration is exactly the thing that will get out of this situation. It builds a healthy ego, a strong sense of personal identity. If you can face this, you can get over this, you can get over anything. And that kind of power is more valuable than any career, any job, any place of living. And this is 22 degree of Aries. So if you have planets, and this is around 11th or 12th of April, and the eclipses are very close to that degree. So you know this is a build up to what's about to come in your career with the eclipse of 16th or 17th of July. Pluto is charging us up. There is some unfinished business. We have to eliminate some amount of waste. Something we are doing which is wasteful, which is wasting our leadership skill, which is wasting our talent. Anyone here is sort of a projection of what we are fighting against, and we have to detach from the ego, even if for a little bit, to sort of convert this into a fruitful exercise. Apart from that person, it could be an idea we are holding on to. It could be a person, a lifestyle, a job that we're holding on to, which is an illusion now. And Pluto does not take any illusion. It wants us to wake up to reality and see things as they truly are. And this is the midpoint of Pluto transit. So especially if you have planets around 22 degree, which is around 11th or 12th of April, this is the time where our illusions are shattered and we see clearly. We are brought against our capacity to control life. We are asked to release a little bit of control and see the truth. Because this conflict is telling us what is not working. And it will be a test of our intention to carry forward. We will be able to modify the situation for our benefit if we want to carry forward. But as I said, do not try to get out of the responsibility here because you will feel trapped. Eric Solomon said there is no good time for Pluto transit. It's just an appropriate time. Now is the time. So we have to just get it done. And this midpoint illuminates the struggle. It gives us more information on what are we resisting. What honesty will give us. What is the greater power that we can get by speaking our mind. If you face a power struggle and explosion, it serves to sort of break down the desire to control what cannot be controlled. Because there might be a situation we're trying to hold on to too much. We're trying to control that situation too much. But that is not what we need to do. We don't have to hold on to that situation. We have to say our piece. We have to say our piece here. There will be back and forth. We have to say our piece. The resources that will come into play are not ordinary here. You are brought to become a very different person with this incident. And our ascent to the upper world, our ascent to what we want to become, comes out of basis this strength that you gain. Because moving up in the world, becoming who you want to be, keeping your emotional core while you do that requires strength, requires courage, requires development of this new skill which these push and pull, this stress situation is giving you. We are becoming diamonds with that. We are becoming a different person with that. You're paying attention to your inner voice when you do that versus accepting what the other person thinks who you are. So you have to focus and listen to your intuition, to your gut right now. Your gut is right. The first eclipse that happened on 2nd of July, if I have to summarize in one line, your gut is right. You would be wrong to not listen to your gut. You would be wrong to listen to somebody else telling you who you can or cannot become. So listen to your gut. Honor your feelings here. What makes you feel safe, secure, happy? Develop the inner security, and the activity outside will take its own form. This is a very key time of reorganization and your awareness of your roots. Where do I come from? How far have I come from where I was? That is important to be reminded to you. You have to use your vulnerabilities, your emotions, your strength within you for moving forward. You have to be in touch with your needs here. You have to focus on your support system. Do not compromise your safety. Do not compromise your needs. And make yourself a safe space to go to during this time. This is not an easy transit. This is not an easy transit because it's life changing, because it's a life milestone. And I mentioned in the first part of the video as well, you can look back if you want to reference back. When did this last happen? Especially if you have planets around 10 degree of Aries or 24 degree of Aries where the eclipses are happening. 10 degree of Aries is around 1st of April born. So the first eclipse is happening at 10 degree of Aries. So you're liable to change houses, you're liable to start something new, you're liable to feel more confident in life in general if you're 1st of April born. And you want to be taking care of yourself. You want to be listening to your gut if you have planets around 10 degree of Aries. But if you're born around 24 degree, the focus is more on the career. Something is coming to head on the career with the eclipse of 16th or 17th of July. So looking at history, this last happened in December 2009. So you can go back to December of 2009 or January of 2010. What was a karmic shift that happened? Because these are not simple eclipses. These are life milestones. So you can look back to December 2009, you can look back to January 2010. Around that period, what was a life milestone that happened in your personal life and in your professional life at the time? For example, for me, I relocated countries, I moved countries and moved to a new job. That was the kind of thing that happened to me at the time. But that was a period of reversal of what's happening right now. So there might be different trends which are happening. The outcome might be different. You might decide to leave a job because you want to do something from home, you want to operate something from home, or you want to do your own business, or you want to pay more attention to your family, or you decide to shift the nature of your job because you want to make it into something that makes you feel more comfortable. You want to, so it could be reverse of that. If you want to see exactly when this happened, you can look back to July of 2000. July of 2000 is when these eclipses were exactly repeated. So something might have happened in July of 2000, and this is way back, so it depends on your age if you can look back to at that time. I shifted jobs at the time. I shifted my profession at the time. So it was again a milestone year for me. 2000 2001 was a milestone year for me. So it depends on history. But if you want to see now, in March of 2019, 22nd or 23rd of March 2019, you might have worked on something. It could be a project, it could be a simple submission, it could be a project that you had to submit to your boss, it could be an organizational shift that you were made aware of. That will come to a head with the second eclipse that is happening on 16th and 17th of July. That eclipse is more prominent for us because it's happening in an area of our life where we are normally very activated, where we aggressively pursue expansion. And that comes to a head. That is happening in our house of career. So the focus comes on you. The focus comes on your professional acumen. The focus comes on your public image. The focus comes on who you want to become. So it could be that a job opportunity comes through, or you're put in a leadership position, or you're put in a career position where you sort of need to finalize. It could be fruits of something that you delivered around 22nd and 23rd of March, and that is coming to a completion. But there has to be honesty here. Do you really want to do this for long term, comes the question. You are asked to take charge. You have to promote yourself. You want to be, but more importantly, you want to be sure of what you want to get out of it. You're put on spot to decide what your future is over here. You are, and this is not a short-term transit. This is an eclipse. This is an eclipse in a earth sign. So a long-term path is being decided here. So the structure of our career, the structure of who we want to become, the structure of our authority, what kind of rules we want to use when it comes to our career, that is coming under question with that. Social recognition. If there was work that was done in the past, there's social recognition that comes with this. The ambition is amped up, and there is a push and pull between your personal life and your ambition here. There's a polarity that we are exposed to, because the polarity is between our perception of what makes us feel secure, what makes us feel happy, and what makes us feel powerful. What do you want? Which of the two? Because these are opposite forces. There's a balance that is required. We can have a balance, or we can make a choice here. Normally in a cardinal sign, we make a choice. We don't make a compromise. In a cardinal sign, usually it is very clear cut. The challenge has a response. So either we decide to take a job, we relocate from our home, we go somewhere else, or we decide to leave that job because it's not in line with who we want to become. Because it's a bargain normally, right? There is greater power that is given to us in exchange for our private life. There is a give and take here. The public recognition comes at a cost. The public personality comes at a cost. The being a public personality comes at the cost of giving up our personal security to some extent, even our personal life to some extent. So you are being asked to make a choice here, and this is not a simple question. It is something that has long-term repercussions, but you have worked on it for a long time. This eclipse, as I mentioned in the earlier part of the video, has already happened. It is a done deal in my view. You already know what you want to do when this position comes in front of you. Around 22nd or 23rd of March, you sort of have decided, in my view, of what you want to do. Now is the full turning out of it. That karmic event that happened in March, in my view, that is just panning out and it's full reality now. Even if it's a new situation, a new career coming through, a new opportunity for career progression coming through, which is especially true if you have planets around 24 degree of Aries, which is around 13th or 14th of April born, you would have this in mind. You would have this in your subconscious that I need to do this. So the choice, in my view, as a cardinal sign, we know what we want. As long as you listen to your gut, you will be very receptive of this. So these are the eclipses. I'll just give you a quick rundown of the dates of what's about to come. The first date is, of course, 2nd of July, when we have the eclipse, which is happening in your house of home and family, which brings about shifts there. It's happening at 10 degrees of Aries. So if your planet's around 10 degree of Aries, or if you're 1st of April born, you'll feel the strongest impact of that. But people around 4 or 5 degrees before and after 10 degrees will also feel it. So 4 to 14, I would say, of 4 to 14 degrees of Aries, which is around, I would say, 26th of March all the way till 4th or 5th of April born, will feel it very strongly. You'll see a life change in your home and family. And then around 4th of July is when the release starts. There is an old restriction, some freedom is felt to make the choices that you want. The clarity comes on what you want to do, which makes you feel safe, around 9th of July, or what you want to do when it comes to your home and family comes around 9th of July, when the quarter moon happens. But before that, we are getting revved up. We are getting revved up when Mercury and Mars are meeting each other in your house of love, in your house of passions. Our passions are revved up from 4th of July all the way till 12th of July, especially for the March born. So you want to be a little bit careful when it comes to conflict, when it comes to financial risks even, because when Mercury is retrograde, we do not want to take excessive financial risks. You want to be careful in terms of your investments. The documentation may not be so clear. So if you're taking a business risk or something, you want to be a little bit careful. They will be back and forth on these topics all the way till middle of August. So if you're taking a financial risk, if you're deciding something for your child, you're taking a risk in your personal life or in your professional life, which has to do with some amount of documentation, finalization, signing off, you want to hold that off, because more information is coming in. From 7th of July all the way till 21st of July, we are in a receival mode. We are receiving new information. We are seeing a different side of things. So if there's any signing off, I would hold off, especially if you're March born. Then on 8th of July, Chiron is going retrograde. Chiron going retrograde is very, very significant for you, because it brings up certain repressed hurt. Sometimes a repressed ailment, health ailment, also comes back and wakes up. The aim is to heal it. The aim is to figure out what is hurting, where is it hurting, so we can address it. The next couple of months for us will be about healing that. On a psychological level, that wakes up our hurt from the past, where our individuality was not honored. So you might be, because of this ego conflict or some amount of push and pull, you want to be careful about that hurt from the past holding you back. The future does not have to be a prisoner to the past. We have to remember that when Chiron is waking up, and it will wake up in the first week of the month, especially if you're March born, especially if you're 25th or 26th of March born. Then comes that power struggle I spoke about on 9th and on 14th of July. This is especially true if you have planets around 17 degree of Aries, which is around 8th of April born, for 9th of July. And for 14th of July, especially true if you have planets around 21 or 22 degree of Aries, which is around 11th or 12th of April born. But in between the two, we will have an opportunity for a financial risk. As I mentioned, you want to be careful about acting on it. It could be even a romantic risk. You want to make out new ideas this month. You want to figure out new ideas this month. So when Mercury is retrograde, we are told to just take a step back and look at the new ideas coming our way, which can help us. So around 11th of July, we have a beautiful grand water trine, which is quite nice in terms of letting go of the old ideologies and taking in some new inputs. So if there are new ideas that are coming your way through discussions with someone, and they could be financial in nature, especially for March born Aries, you want to look at that, or early degree Aries, you want to look at those ideas. Then on 16th of July, we have the partial lunar eclipse happening in your house of career at 24 degree of Capricorn. So that will impact you if you have planets around 24 degree of Aries. From 20 to 28 degree, I would say, would be most impacted in terms of their career. That is people who have Aries sun, if you're Aries sun, born between 10th to 18th of April, especially if you're born 13th or 14th of April, which is myself. So good luck to all of us, and we hope for the best. Do go over the part 1 if you have not, and I'll see you in the mid-month video now. Good luck for the eclipses. Thank you, Aries.